Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. I hope all of you are well and safe at home. I hope, and I'm picturing all of my friends who are watching at home right now, and thank you to those that tuned in last night and for Oneg. And all I can say is that it's a beautiful day in Sag Harbor. It is a very needed Shabbat for me this week. I just especially feel like I needed to be in this place and to be praying with all of you. And I hope that you feel the same way. So we're going to get started as we always do, and we'll sing a little bit just to wake ourselves up, and then we'll get praying and learning. Yallai la 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 ya la 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 yallai la 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 yalla yalla la ay la 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 yalla la la ay la 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 yalla yalla la ay la 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 yalla yalla ay la 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 yalla la ya ay la ay la 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 ay la la ay la 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 ay la la ay la 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 yalla la la yalla la yalla la ay la 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 yalla la la ay la 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 yalla la yalla la ay la 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 yalla la yalla la ay la 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 yalla la la ay la la Shabbat Shalom, everyone. So before we get started with our service and before we have our little bit of meditation time, just a quick logistical word. So thanks very much to Howard Sanborn who suggested this, and I hope it will make things a little bit easier on your end if you are following along in the online version of our prayer book in the Mishkan Tefillah that is in what's called flipbook fashion online, the link that I sent out to our community. So as we've talked about before, it is a exact scan of a physical book. So you'll see in the bottom right-hand corner the same page numbers that you have in the book if you were sitting here with me and that I have in my book right here. The problem is that it's hard to navigate, especially around the book very quickly, and the easiest way to do that is just below where you'll see there's sort of a list of icons towards the bottom of the page of the flipbook. Furthest to the left, there should be a place in which you can input a page number. So that page number, because it doesn't account for the beginning pages of the book which are not numbered, there's basically an 18-page discrepancy between what is actually in the physical book and the page number that you could put into that little box to help move around. So what I'm going to do to make your life easier, because I realize that unless you're excellent at mental math, adding 18 to every page number that I announce is not realistic, that what I'm going to do is announce 2 page numbers every time that we move to a new page that requires a page announcement. So one will be the physical book in case you're following at home, and the other will be what you would plug into that space in the online version. So I hope that this is reasonably clear. If what I said makes absolutely no sense to you, please let me know. I'll walk you through it after this Shabbat. But let's give this a try and hopefully it will help. So now, given all that, let's just take a moment for ourselves, close our eyes if we like, just to breathe a little bit and help us to center ourselves and focus ourselves before we get started. We open our eyes, let's take a deep breath in and let a deep breath out, and we will open up our Sidurim, our prayer books, to page 186 in the print, page 204 in the online, again page 204 in the online, page 186 in the book. Modeh ani lefanecha melech hai vekayam thanks to you, Adonai, ever-living sovereign, that you have restored my soul to me in mercy. How great is your trust. We turn now to page 210 online, page 192 in the book, Ma Tovu. Ma Tovu, O Alecha Yaakov, Mishkenotecha Israel. Ma Tovu, O Alecha Yaakov, Mishkenotecha Israel. We turn now together to the top of page 195 in the book, 213 online. We'll read together in English at the very top of the page, a blessing for our bodies. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe. With divine wisdom you have made our bodies, combining veins, arteries, and vital organs into a finely balanced network. Wondrous maker and sustainer of life, were one of them to fail, how well we are aware, we would lack the strength to stand before you. Blessed are you, Adonai, source of our health and strength. Baruch atah Adonai, rofeh chol basar umachli la'asot. We now turn to page 214 online, page 196 in the book, a prayer for our souls. Elohai neshama shenatata bi tehorahi. 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 Let's join together in English at the bottom of the page. My God, the soul you have given me is pure. You created it, you shaped it, you breathed it into me, and you protect it within me. For as long as my soul is within me, I offer thanks to you, Adonai, my God and God of my ancestors, source of all creation, sovereign of all souls. Praised are you, Adonai, in whose hand is every living soul and the breath of humankind. Baruch atah Adonai, asher biado nefesh kol chai, veruach kol b'saish. Please rise if you're able at home as we turn to page 216 online, 198 in the book, Nisim b'chol yom. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lasech vivina, leavchin ben yom uven laila. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, bokeach ivrim. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, matir asurim. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, zokef kefufim. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, rokach haaretz al hamayim. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Amechin mitzadei gaver. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, malbish harumim. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hanoten layav koach. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamavir shena meinai, utenuma me'af apayim. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, shasani b'tzelem Elohim. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, shasani ben chorin. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, shasani Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Ozer Yisrael bigvura. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Oter Yisrael b'tifarah. Okay, please be seated at home. We're going to turn now to page 222 online, page 204 in the book, as we offer a prayer for the study of Torah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. O Adonai our God, let the words of Torah be sweet in our mouths, and the mouths of your people Israel, so that we, our descendants, and the descendants of all your people Israel, may know you by studying your Torah for its own sake. Blessed are you, Adonai, who teaches Torah to your people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, hamelamed Torah le'amo Yisrael. Turn now to page 224 online, 206 in the book, very top of the page. Elu devarim she'ein lahem shiur, she'elam ochel perotehem be'olam hazeh, ve'akeren kayemet lo le'olam haba, ve'elu hem kibud avaim ugmilut chasadim, ve'hashkamat beit hamidrash shacharit ve'aravit, ve'achnasat orchim uvikur cholim, ve'achnasat kala leviat hamet v'yun tefila, ve'havat shalom ben adam lachavero, ve'talmud Torah keneged kulam. And now rise at home if we're able, as we turn to page 230 in the online, page 212 in the book. Baruch she'amar ve'haya ha'olam baruch hu, Baruch oseh ve'reshit, Baruch omer ve'oseh, Baruch gozer u'mekayem, Baruch merachem al haaretz, Baruch merachem al habriot, Baruch meshalem sachar tov lireav, Baruch chalad v'kayam lanetzach, Baruch bodeh u'matzil, Baruch shemo, b'shfachot u'bizmirot negadelcha, unshabecha v'nafayecha v'naskir shemcha v'namlichecha malkeinu Eloheinu, yachid chei ha'olamim, melech meshubach u'mfor adei ad shemo hagadol, Baruch atah Adonai, melech mehulal batishbachot. Please be seated at home. We're on to the next page, page 232 in the online, 214 in the book, and we're the second line down in Hebrew. Tov lehodot l'Adonai, Tov lehodot l'Adonai, ulezamer l'shimcha elyon, Tov lehodot l'Adonai, להגיד בבוקר חסדך, להגיד בבוקר חסדך, ואמונתך בלילות, ואמונתך בלילות, טוב להודות לאדוני. עלי אסור ולנבל, עלי היגיון בכינור, כי שימחתני אדוני בפועלך, במעשה ידך ארנן. מה גדלו מעשיך היה, מאוד עמקו מחשבותיך. Yoshvei Veitecha Od Yalelucha Od Yalelucha Ashrei Yoshvei Veitecha Od Yalelucha Od Yalelucha Selah V'anachnu nevarech ya me'ata v'ad olam me'ata v'ad olam me'ata v'ad olam Hallelujah Hallelujah Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Turn now to page 236 online, page 218 in the book, Psalm 150, very top of the page. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, 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 El Bekocho, hallelujah, Birkia Uzo, hallelujah, Big Burata, hallelujah. Hallelujah, 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 v'teka hashofar, hallelujah, benebel v'chinor, hallelujah, v'tofu machol, hallelujah, b'minim ve'ugav, hallelujah, 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 v'tzil tzalei shama, hallelujah, v'tzil tzalei trua, kohan shama, tehalleluya, hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Nishmat kol chai, tevarech et shimcha Adonai Eloheinu. Continue on to page 237, 38 in the online, 219, 220 in Hebrew. Okay, now we're on page 238 online, page 220 in the book, top of the page, Ilu Finu. Ilu Finu, Bale Shira Kayam, ולשוננו רינה כמון גליו, ושפתותינו שבח כמרחבי רקיע, ועינינו מאירות כשמש וכירח, וידינו פרוסות כנשרי שמיים, ורגלינו קלות כחיילות. אין אנחנו מספיקים להודות לך, אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואימותינו. Continue silently on to the next page. We're now on page 240 in the online, page 222 in the book. Second paragraph down Hebrew from the top of the page. Shochenan maro, excuse me, v'kadosh shemo, v'chatu v'hanenu tzadikim b'Adonai, la yesharim na'avat ilam, befi yesharim titalalu divrei tzadikim, titbarachu bilshon chasidim, titromamu bekerev kedoshim, titkadashu ma'kehalot, ribevot amcha beit Yisrael berinait ba'ar, shimcha malkeinu bechol dor, v'ador yababai yababai bai bai bai, yababai yababai bai bai, ai bai bai yababai yababai bai bai bai, ai yababai yababai ai bai bai. If we're able, we rise at home for the concluding blessing of Pazukei de Zimra on page 241 in the online, 223 in the book, and will remain standing through the Chatzi Kaddish and the Baruch Hu on the next two pages. Yishtabach shimcha lad malkeinu, ha'el ha'melech ha'gadol ve'ha'kadosh b'shamayim u'ba'aretz, ki lecha na'e Adonai Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu ve'imotenu, shir u'shvacha v'zimra, ועוז וממשלה נצח, גדולה וגבורה, תהילה ותפארת, קדושה ומלכות, ברכות והודאות, מעתה ועד עולם. ברוך אתה אדוני, אל מלך גדול ותשבחות, אל ההודאות אדון הנפלאות, הבוחר בשירי זמרה, מלך אל חי העולמים. יתקדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, ועלמא דברי חירותי וימליך מלכותי, וחייכון וימיכון וחיי בכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך, לעולם לעלמי עלמיה, יתברך וישתבח, ויתבר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי דקודשא בריחו. לעילא מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דמירן ועלמא, ואמרו אמן. Barechu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Leolam Vaed. Please be seated at home. We turn now to page 246 in the online, 228 in the book, as we offer the first blessing before the Shema together, first in the English at the bottom of the page, and then the 3 lines just above it in Hebrew, beginning with Or Chadash. Praised are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, creator of light and darkness, who makes peace and fashions all things. In mercy you illumine the world and those who live upon it. In your goodness you daily renew creation. How numerous are your works, Adonai. In wisdom you formed them all, filling the earth with your creatures. Be praised, Adonai, our God, for the excellent work of your hands, and for the lights you created, may they glorify you. Shine a new light upon Zion, that we all may swiftly merit its radiance. Praised are you, Adonai, creator of all heavenly lights. Or Chadash, Al Tzion Ta'ir. Or Chadash, Al Tzion Ta'ir. V'nizkechu lanu me'era le'oro. V'nizkechu lanu me'era le'oro. Yadadai dai bim bim bam, yadadai dai bim bam, yadadai dai bim bim bam, yadadai dai dai. Yadadai dai bim bim bam, yadadai dai bim bam, yadadai dai bim bim bam, yadadai dai dai. Baruch atah Adonai Yotzer HaMeorot. And now on page 248 online, 230 in the book, we'll begin by reading the English together at the top of the page and then the Hebrew at the bottom. How deeply you have loved us, Adonai our God, gracing us with surpassing compassion. On account of our forebears whose trust led you to teach them the laws of life, be gracious to us, teaching us as well. O merciful one, have mercy on us by making us able to understand and discern, to heed, learn, and teach, and lovingly to observe, perform, and fulfill all that is in your Torah. Ve'ha'erneinu b'toratecha v'davek libeinu b'mitzvotecha ve'yached lehevabeinu le'ahava u'yirah et shemecha ve'lo nevosh ve'lo nikalem ve'lo nikashel le'olam va'ed ki v'shem kodshecha Agadol ve'anora batachnu Nagila v'nismecha b'yeshuatecha ve'havienu le'shalom me'ahar b'kanfot haaretz ve'tolichenu kol memiut le'artzeinu ki el poel yeshuot ata ubanu v'acharta ve'keravtanu le'shimcha agadol sela b'emet le'odot lecha u'yachidcha b'ahava baruch atah Adonai abocher be'amo Yisrael b'ahava. Flip on to the next page. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושינתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להיות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. Page 236 in the book, page 254 online. ויאמר אדוני אל משה לאמור, דבר אל בני ישראל ואמרת עליהם, ועשו להם ציצית על כנפי בגדיהם לדורותם, ונתנו על ציצית הכנף פתיל תכלת, והיה לכם לציצית וריתם אותו, וזכרתם את כל מצוות אדוני ועשיתם אותם, ולא תטורו אחרי לבבכם ואחרי עיניכם אשר אתם זונים אחריהם, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. Okay, we're going to turn now to page 257 online, page 239 in the book, and we'll read together in English at the top of the page, and then we'll shift back one page in Hebrew very quickly before going on to the next page. It'll make sense to you when you see it. Please join with me at home if you can. Emet, there is no place where you are not. Even in the wilderness, there is your word. Emet, that pen strokes of lightning, white fire, black flame, stir the soul's passion, guide our sacred way. True and enduring is Torah. Your truth for us is certain and established now and forevermore. Like Moses, Miriam, and all Israel, we sing out and rejoice. Bye 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 ya 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 bye 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 ya bye 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 tehilot le'elyon baruch u'mavorach Moshe u'Miriam u'bnei Yisrael lechanu Shira besimcha rabba ve'amru chulam mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai mi kamocha nedar ba'kodesh nora tehilot sefer le'ya bye 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 ya bye 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 Shira chadasha shibchu geulim le'shimcha al svatayam yachad kulam hodu ve'imlichu ve'ameru Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed Tzur Yisrael Huma be'ezrat Yisrael Ufidei chinumecha Yehuda ve'Yisrael Go aleinu Adonai tzvahot shemo Kedosh Yisrael Baruch atah Adonai Gal Yisrael. We remain remain standing as we begin the Amidah together on page 260 online, page 242 in the book. Please go at your own pace, and when you're finished, you may be seated. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Ask those at home who are still standing to please remain standing. Those who have sat back down to please rise if you are able. We're going to turn now to page 342 in the online, page 324 in the book. Again, page 342 online, 324 in the book for the repetition of the Amidah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanorah, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Koneh Hakol, V'Zocher Chastei Avot v'Imahot, U'Mevei Geulah Livnei B'neihem, Leman Shemo B'Yahava, Melech Ozer Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Abraham Ve'Zrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayim Metim Atah Rab Le'Oshia, Morid Hatam, Mechalkel Chaim B'Chesed, Mechayim Metim Be'Rachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Ve'Rofech Oholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Micha Mocha Bal Gevurot, Umido Melach,
ונתת לחיות מתים. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי המתים. Now on page 344 online, page 326 in the book. נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וכרז אל זה ואמר, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך כל הארץ, כבודו. אדיר, אדירנו, אדוני, אדוננו, אדיר שמך בכל הארץ. ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. אחד הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו, הוא מלכנו, הוא מושיענו והוא ישמיענו, ברחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהיך ציון, לדור ודור. הללויה. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד עוד לך. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד עוד לך. ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש, קדושתך נקדיש. ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש, לעולם לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Okay, please be seated at home. We're on page 347 online, 329 in the book, top of the page. ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת. מקדשי שביעי שבת, כולם יספרו ויתענגו מטובך שבת. ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת. והשביעי רצית בו וקידשתו שבת. חמדת ימים אותו קראת שבת. ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת. זכר למעשה בראשית שבת. זכר למעשה בראשית שבת. ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת. אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואמותינו, רצה רצה במנוחתנו. קדשנו במצוותיך ותן חלקנו בתורתך. Savenu mituvecha, v'samechenu b'shuatecha, v'taher libeinu, le'ovdecha be'emet, ve'anchilenu, Adonai Eloheinu, Ayin, 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 yanananananay, yanayin, ayin, 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 yananananay, yanayin, ayin, 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 yanananananay, yanayin, ayin, 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 ayin. Be'ahava v'ratzon Shabbat kodshecha, Vaynu chuva Yisrael mekadshe shemecha. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. Okay. Turn now to page 348 online, page 330 in the book. We'll read together in English in the middle of the page. On this Shabbat day, as you graciously receive our prayers, help us to hear your call. Grant us enough health to fulfill our duties and the compassion we need to attend to others. Teach us humility that we may perceive our own faults, and grant us the wisdom to be forgiving of others. Give us the courage to be true to our highest selves and the charity to see the best in those around us. Give us patience enough not to become discouraged, hope enough to overcome all fears for the future, and faith enough to know your presence. O source of blessing, look with favor upon us. May our offerings be acceptable to you. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otcha levadcha birat na'avon. We turn on to the next page, and beginning at the bottom of the page, we'll read the paragraphs in English, including each paragraph with the words Modim anachnu lach, offering our gratitude to God at the end of each paragraph together. For the expanding grandeur of creation, worlds known and unknown, galaxies beyond galaxies filling us with awe and challenging our imaginations, Modim anachnu lach. For this fragile planet Earth, its times and tides, its sunsets and seasons, Modim anachnu lach. For the joy of human life, its wonders and surprises, its hopes and achievements, Modim anachnu lach. For human community, our common past and future hope, our oneness transcending all separation, our capacity to work for peace and justice in the midst of hostility and oppression. Modim anachnu lach. For high hopes and noble causes, for faith without fanaticism, for understanding of views not shared. Modim anachnu lach. For all who have labored and suffered for a fairer world, who have lived so that others might live in dignity and freedom. Modim anachnu lach. For human liberties and sacred rights, for opportunities to change and grow, to affirm and choose. Modim anachnu lach. We pray that we may live not by our fears, but by our hopes, not by our words, but by our deeds. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha, ulecha na'eh lehodot. Prayer for Peace, page 352 online, 334 in the book. Sim shalom tova uvracha, chen v'chesed v'rachamim v'rachamim aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol Yisrael ha'amecha, barcheinu yotzreinu kulanu kechad, be'or panecha, ki be'or panecha natata lanu, Adonai Eloheinu. Sim shalom tova uvracha, chen v'chesed v'rachamim v'rachamim aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol Yisrael ha'amecha, Torat chaim ve'ahavat chesed, ve'ahavat chesed, u'tzedaka u'racha berachamim ve'chaim ve'shalom. Sim shalom tova uvracha, chen v'chesed v'rachamim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ha'amecha v'tov beinecha levarech et amcha Yisrael v'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שים שלום טובה וברכה, חן וחסד ורחמים עלינו ועל כל ישראל עמך. ברוך אתה אדוני המברך את עמו ישראל ושלום. We turn now to page 355 online, page 337 in the book, and we'll read together in English at the very top of the page, a meditation to bring us to a close of the Amidah. Prayer is not purely an act. All things pray, and all things pour forth their souls. The heavens pray, the earth prays, every creature and every living thing. In all life there is longing. Creation is itself but a longing, a kind of prayer to the Almighty. What are the clouds, the rising and the setting of the sun, the soft radiance of the moon and the gentleness of the night? What are the flashes of the human mind and the storms of the human heart? They are all prayers, the wordless outpouring of boundless longing for God. Oseh shalom mimromav, uyaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. We now rise as we turn to page 380 online, page 362 in the book. Seder Kriyat HaTorah, the Torah service. Again, page 380 online, page 362 in the book. Ein kamocha Elohim Adonai, v'ein kema'asecha, malchutcha malchut, kol olamim u'memshaltecha bechol dor v'ador. Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai imloch, leolam va'ed, Adonai yahoz le'amo yiten, Adonai yevarech et amo v'shalom, avarachamim, eitiva b'rtzoncha et Zion, tivnei chomot Yerushalayim, ki b'cha levad batachnu, melech el ram v'nisa, Adon olamim. Ki mitzion tetzei Torah, ki mitzion tetzei Torah, udevar Adonai v'Yerushalayim, Baruch shenatan Torah, Torah, Baruch shenatan Torah, Torah, le'amo Yisrael, b'kedushato. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo.
והנצח וההוד, היכו בשמיים ובארץ, היכו בשמיים ובארץ, לך אדוני הממלכה, והמתנשא לכל ראש. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו. כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו. רוממו כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Please be seated at home if you're standing. So this morning we read from the double portion, Tazria Metzora, which more often than not are read together. I believe it's only in leap years in which they are read separately from each other, but they are intricately connected to each other, whether they're read on the same Shabbat or whether they're read in consecutive Shabbatot. And the reason is because they deal with a fairly specific set of circumstances, but those specific set of circumstances relate to a larger concept, certainly in the book of Vayikra, the book of Leviticus, but then becomes really a larger concept within Judaism writ large. And that is this sort of two extremes of circumstance, or two extremes of, let's say, situation or condition, which in Hebrew are known as tumah, which refers to a ritual impurity, or a state of ritual impurity, I should say, and tahara, which is a state of ritual purity. Okay, so we're talking again about tumah in one part, impurity, tahara in another part, purity. And virtually all of the laws that come through the book of Vayikra, in some form or the other, are viewed through this lens. And as I said, as Judaism advanced in time and eventually as Rabbinic Judaism came into a fore, these concepts persisted even after the specific realities of the temple and the temple sacrificial system ended. Right? These concepts of purity and impurity remain a significant part of Jewish theology, philosophy, liturgy, and in many cases, especially in traditional observant environments, in terms of very practical, daily, weekly, hourly sometimes considerations based upon a number of different factors. So this is sort of the semi-running joke in the rabbinate, which is that, inevitably in a large congregation where every Shabbat there is a B'nai Mitzvah, statistically speaking, there is a good chance that some poor child is going to get assigned this particular double portion or portion, which begins again with very graphic descriptions of menstruation, of seminal emissions, of corpses, of any number of things, of leprosy ultimately, which we'll get to talk about in a moment, right? That these are topics that are not so easily handled by adults, let alone by 12 or 13-year-old children. And so, of course, there is kind of this sense that when you get to this portion, that everybody kind of just looks the other way and moves forward through it or past it. But it contains within it actually a tremendous amount of really important, essential concepts in Judaism, regardless of how we feel about them or how we observe them ourselves. To understand so much of Judaism and Judaism's way of thinking, we need to actually understand principally what it is that's being described in this portion. And for Torah study, we're going to get much more into the minutiae of this and try to sort of figure out what it is this purity and impurity statuses or stati, or whatever it might be, right? Whatever they are, we'll discuss that in much greater depth in our online Torah study after services. But I want to focus on what becomes the major section of this double portion, which deals with this idea of tzara'at, this idea of what is usually translated into most English versions of the Torah or of the Old Testament, in the case of Christianity, is this idea of leprosy, right? Leprosy, which is a condition that is a medical condition, a condition that is a known medical condition, has existed as far as we can tell from time immemorial, and that is particularly damaging to the skin and to any number of places on the body, so much so that the plight of the leper in most cultures, and if not every culture, was generally to be ostracized, to be outcast, to ultimately live on the fringes of society, and for all intents and purposes to be considered sort of almost incurable. And so leper colonies, right, groups of lepers would appear oftentimes in ancient times outside of the city gates because they weren't allowed in. So what the Torah is dealing with here, again, is at least on the translation level, right, when we think of it in terms of leprosy, makes sense in a lot of different categories and contexts. So the problem is that according to the tradition and according to really a close reading of the text itself, this condition of tzara'at, this condition of leprosy, is not a result of, for example, the lack of physical cleanliness, not because of a contagion, not because of a virus, not because of a bacteria, but in fact, according to the traditional reading of the text, of which there is not uniformity of agreement, but many people have taken this sort of midrashic approach, is to understand, and there's a textual basis for that, which we'll get into next door, that basically that this tzara'at is the result of a spiritual affliction, not a physical affliction, right? That somebody who breaks out in this tzara'at, who has these lesions on their body, or in certain cases on their homes or on their clothing, that in their case, it's because they did something spiritually incorrect. Okay, so there are lots of different definitions according to the rabbinic commentaries as to what that thing is, but most of them coalesce around the idea of playing off of the Hebrew words themselves, saying that tzara'at is actually an acronym which stands for Motzi Shem Ra, which euphemistically basically means to gossip about somebody else, to slander another person, to speak ill about someone or something, or perhaps even to speak ill ultimately of God. And Maimonides is one of those that sort of identifies this in a sort of spiritual realm, and he says as follows. If I'm not mistaken, I believe that I have taught this core text before in other contexts, but it applies, and I'll get to the main sense of my drash in a little bit. So if this sounds somewhat repetitious, forgive me, but there is a point to it, I promise. So Maimonides teaches that this tzara'at is not a natural earthly phenomenon. Rather, when Israel, right, Israel with a capital I, right, the people themselves, is one with God, God's Spirit is always upon them to keep their bodies and their garments and their houses appearing good. But when one of them sins or transgresses, an ugliness appears in his body. So what's Maimonides saying here? So he's adding actually a sort of interesting wrinkle. What he's suggesting is that basically, when we're doing what we're supposed to do properly, when we are all in a state of tahorah, a state of ritual purity, God is able to reside in our general midst. And with God comes something of a prophylactic, protective shield of some sort that prevents things like tzara'at from taking place either on our bodies or in our homes or in our clothes. But the moment that we do something that is spiritually distancing from God, the moment that we do something, for example, like slandering another human being, like using our words for damaging as opposed to healing properties, that ultimately speaking, we are causing God's presence to recede, to distance from ourselves, and at that point to become vulnerable. In the same way, I guess the closest analogy we can use in present times would be to say the difference between wearing, for example, a hazmat suit, fully covered, fully protected to deal with patients who have the virus, and then taking off that protective gear, which will almost certainly guarantee the transmission of whatever is taking place. So Maimonides is basically saying that this is a very significant thing. Okay, it's very, very damaging. The moment that we do something spiritually afflicting, the physical thing will immediately follow, or follow in short order, I should say. So I want to take this another step further and to quote from another section of Maimonides' works from the Mishnah Torah, in which he extrapolates a little bit more, especially focusing on this idea that tzara'at is tied to the misuse of the mouth, misuse of our words, misuse of the power of those words. And he says as follows: certainly an inference can be made with regard to the wicked and foolish men who speak, wicked and foolish people, who speak extensively about great and wondrous matters. Therefore, a person who seeks to structure their discourse of conduct should distance themselves from their gatherings and from speaking to them so that they will not become caught up in the web of their wickedness and foolishness. This is the path followed by the gathering of wicked fools. In the beginning, they speak excessively about empty matters. And then he quotes from the book of Ecclesiastes, the book of Kohelet, which states, the talk of a fool is characterized by a multitude of words. So, at this point, I will dive into what may be considered, I'll put in air quotes, political. I don't see this as a political matter. I see this as a matter of accountability in leadership. But I think any of us who have watched recent press conferences, but certainly the one this week, in which there was, sarcastic or otherwise, a suggestion by the leader of this country that solutions to the current virus can take the form of, for example, ingesting or in otherwise putting into our body chemicals that are known to be damaging. Now, again, putting aside the political part of it, what am I talking about? I'm talking about someone who is in a position to guide, to lead, to educate, to be truthful, even when it is painful to be so, to not give false hope, to not give false information, to not potentially convince, intentionally or otherwise, people to do things that would otherwise harm themselves. All of these things fall into this category of how we use the power of our words and the danger they're in when we are not thoughtful about them. So how does this then relate back to our Torah portion? Right? Certainly that press conference, that one individual that I'm speaking of, is not just the only example. Right? All of us at some point or another are responsible for the misuse of our words. Every single one of us, every single human being that has ever lived on the planet has been in some form or another a violator of the concept of how we use our words, which should be exclusively for good and never for evil. So since all of us are basically in this boat one form or the other, perhaps maybe not to the degree of those in a leadership position who hold a greater responsibility, but if all of us need to see ourselves as part of this challenge and part of this problem, and certainly we don't, and I do not want to even begin to suggest the idea that the virus or the phenomenon that we're dealing with is a result of our immature or improper or impure behavior. Not in any way, shape, or form do I believe that. But the point is simply to say that there is something to be learned from not just the description in the Torah of how this tzara'at comes to be, but much more importantly, how it is dealt with once it comes to light. Right? What do we do with the person who is doing things that they shouldn't be doing, right? Using their words for improper means. So the description of what takes place in the Torah is fairly specific. And one of the things that has to happen first is that you need to be able to identify the problem. And that identification can't happen by the individual. It has to be happening from somebody who is an outside observer. In this case, the Kohen, the priest. There needs to be some amount of context, some amount of outside opinion that we ourselves have blinders on. We can't always see that what we're doing is good or bad or otherwise. There needs to be an outside force that is going to help to keep us in check. So that's one piece of it. The second is that when somebody is behaving in an improper way and they have developed this tzara'at, they have to be removed for a temporary period of time from the community. So why is that the case? Because of the potential of transmission, the potential of creating more chaos without considering, right, again, what the impact is of our words and our behaviors. So there is a necessary step in which we basically have to say, you know, if this has gotten so bad with this individual that they have not yet figured out that they are contributing to their own demise, that there needs to be a distancing, there needs to be a step back, there needs to be an opportunity to sort of reconsider and to rethink. So there are a number of different lessons from all of this. Okay? The other is to understand that this isn't just a personal matter. All right? That when we are dealing on community matters, matters that affect all of us, we have to be that much more vigilant, that much more considerate of what it is that we do. And I think this is always key to me in Judaism, which is to say that this isn't a permanent punishment or state of being. Right? The suggestion of this week's portion is that there is a healing that can take place. There are actions that need to be taken. There are steps that need to be taken, some of them quite extreme even. but that ultimately speaking, this is on a path towards redemption, a path towards returning to our purer state from our impure state. Right? That's one of the great things about the book of Vayikra, the concepts of purity and impurity. While there are certain things that are by definition impure, most things are really only in a temporary state of impurity. And therefore, with certain actions can be taken back from the brink. And that's the hopeful part of this, which is to say, for our leadership who perhaps have not been behaving the way that they should, it's not going to say that you can't make a change, right? That we can ask and demand that our leadership, not just of one party and not just one individual, that everybody, right, can change their behavior, can use their words for the positive, can come back from the brink. And also for ourselves, to realize that if we have been participating in this kind of behavior, if we've been using our words for evil as opposed to good, that there is a path back for us as well. That our tradition and our hope in all of this is that we need certainly some distance, we need some perspective, we need some time to reflect, we need some time to work on our behavior and understanding, but ultimately speaking, if we're willing to do the work, at least in this case, right, the spiritual malady can be remedied. The physical stuff is an entirely different situation, but the spiritual stuff can be remedied. And so I think right now we need to be hyper-focused on how it is that we ourselves transmit information, how we use our words, either vocal or typed, to benefit society, benefit humanity, benefit each other, benefit ourselves. And I think we do have a moral responsibility, especially in a country like ours in which the people are invested with power, that the leadership that we have elected, whether they were our choice or otherwise, be held accountable for their use of words, for the possibility of spreading a danger, a sakana, a real threat to life through the, let's just say, the very least careless use of words, and even worse than that, I think the purposeful use of misinformation to serve other purposes. So I hope that all of us can connect to this week's portion in a number of different ways. And as I said, hopefully if you'll join us for Torah study afterwards, we will take a little bit more time to understand this sort of balance between purity and impurity and what that means for all of us. So with that, I wish you all a Shabbat Shalom. And we are going to read, as we have been, one Aliyah this morning, 12 verses from the beginning of chapter 14, which is the beginning of Metzorah. So if you're following in the plaid Chumash, the dark-colored Chumash is on page 752. If you're following in the Women's Torah Commentary, it is 659. Again, Women's Commentary 659, plaid Chumash, page 752. And if you're following in an online form, you're looking for the 14th chapter of the book of Leviticus, the book of Vayikra, beginning with Vayedaber Adonai. Okay.
Baruchu et Adonai HaMorach. Baruch Adonai HaMorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Amen. Vayedaber Adonai el Moshe lemor. Zot tieh Torat haMetzorah beyom tehorato. Vehuva el haKohen. Veyatza haKohen el michutz lamachane. Vera'a haKohen. Vehine Nirpat nega hatzarat min hatzarua. Vetziva haKohen velakach lemitaher shetei tzipurim chayot tehorot ve'etz erez u'shenei tolat ve'ezov. וציווה הכהן ושחט את הציפור האחת אל כלי חרס על מים חיים. את הציפור החיה ייקח אותה ואת עץ הארז ואת שני התולעת ואת האזוב וטבל אותם ואת הציפור החיה ודם הציפור השחוטה על המים החיים והיזה על המטהר מן הצרעת 7 פעמים וטיהרו ושילח את הציפור החיה על פני השדה וכיבס המטהר את בגדיו וגילח את כל שערו ורחץ במים וטהר ואחרי יבוא אל המחנה וישב מחוץ לאוהלו 7 ימים והיה ביום השביעי יגלח את כל שערו את ראשו ואת זקנו ואת גבות עיניו ואת כל שערו יגלח וכיבס את בגדיו ורחץ את בשרו במים וטהר וביום השמיני ייקח 2 כבשים תמימים וכבשה אחת בת שנתה תמימה ו3 עשרונים סולת מנחה בלולב השמן ולא אחד שמן והעמיד הכהן המטהר את האיש המטהר ואותם לפני אדוני פתח אוהל מועד ולקח הכהן את הכבש האחד והקריב אותו לאשם ואת לוג השמן והניף אותם תנופה לפני אדוני. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת וחיי עולם אתה בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Before we lift and dress the Torah while we still have our Torah in our midst, we take a moment to offer our Mishaberach, our prayer for healing, which is back in our prayer books on page 389 in the online, 371 in the book. And of course, as we think of those in our community, connected to our community, connected to us personally, we hold in our hearts everyone around the world who is still fighting against this terrible virus, and of course, all of those that are helping in that fight and helping all of us to live, hopefully, safely in our homes. Mishaberach Alotenu ve'imotenu Abraham, Yitzchak ve'Yaakov, Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah, hu yivarech et hacholim ha'elu. We think of those in our community and connected to our community in need of healing. Linda Shapiro, Joanne Sanborn, Jean Ben Sadun, Gloria Taradash, Andrea Klausner, Judy Stern, Miriam Cornfield, Roz Brody, Chana Ruth Bat Sarah, Marlise Silverberg, Louis Davidson, Susan Spruce, Fagel Tzipora Bat Elisheva, Elisheva bat Sarah, Richard Gambino, Michelle Sawicki, Idle Basha bat Yitzchak, Tzvi Menachem ben Chaim, Rivka bat Devorah, Amy and Gavin Tucker, Janice Kurz, David Dowling, Neil Elliott and Eileen Rosen, Israel ben Yitzchak, Ben Sion ben Moshe, Lorraine Danis, Buddy Kosoff, Shelley Newmark, David Kyle Klotman, Rivka bat Rachel, Sarah bat Chana, Moshe Eliezer, Ben Sivia, Peretz ben Yehuda, and Leah bat Naomi. And if you're thinking of anyone else that we didn't mention, now would be the time at home to mention any names of those that you're saying Mishnah Berach for this morning. HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yimalei Rachamim Aleichem Lahachalimam Lerabotam Lechazikam Vishlach Lehem Mehera Refuah Shlema Min HaShamayim Refuat HaNefesh Refuat HaGuf Hashtabag Alav Zman Kariv Ben Amar. Amen. May the one who blessed our ancestors Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless and heal those who are suffering. May the blessed Holy One be filled with compassion for their health to be restored and their strength to be revived. May God swiftly send them a complete renewal of body and spirit, and let us say together, Amen. El Narefana La, El Narefana La, El Narefana La, Refuah Shelema, El Narefana Lo, El Narefana Lo, El Narefana Lo, Refuah Shelema. Now ask those at home who are able to please rise as we lift and dress the Torah. Vezot HaTorah asher sam Moshe lifnei bnei Yisrael al pi Adonai b'yad Moshe. Torah, 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 tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 tziva lanu Moshe. Okay, please be seated at home. This morning's Haftarah, when it's read as a double portion, we read the Haftarah for the Parsha of Mitzorah, which, is found in our Chumash, in the Plat Chumash, on page 765, if you're following at home. And if not, and you're following in some other form online, you're looking for the second book of Kings. Again, second book of Kings, chapter 7, verses 3 to verse 20. So again, second book of Kings, chapter 7, verse 3 to 20. And if you have the Plat Chumash at home, we're on page 765. But first, we'll offer the blessings before and after. First before and then after. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar b'nvi'im tovim, v'ratza b'divrehem hanemarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai, abocher b'torah u'moshe abdo, u'Yisrael amo v'nvi'eh ha'emet v'hatzedek. Amen. Okay. At the entrance of the gate were 4 men, all lepers. They said to one another, "Why should we sit here until we die? If we decide to go into the city, we will die of the famine. And if we remain here, we will die as well. Better to desert to the Aramean camp. If they let us live, we will live. If they put us to death, we will be dead." At twilight, they made their way toward the Aramean camp, and when they reached the edge of the camp, they found not a soul. The Eternal had caused the Arameans to hear the sounds of horses and chariots and the sounds of a large army, so that they had thought, "The king of Israel must have paid the kings of the Hittites and of Egypt to attack us." And they had run away at twilight, leaving their tents, their horses, their mules, everything in their camp, just as it was. They had fled for their lives. And so these lepers came to the edge of the camp, went into one tent, and ate and drank. They carried off some silver, some gold, and clothing, and went and hid it. And then they came back, entered another tent, took what they could find there, and hid it. And then they said to one another, "We're not doing right. This is a red letter day. And we are keeping quiet about it. If we wait till daybreak, we will pay for it. We had better go now and let the king's household know what has happened." They went and called to the gatekeepers of the city and told them that they had come to the Aramean camp and found no one there, not a single human voice, only tethered horses and mules and tents left as is. The gatekeepers called out, and the news was passed out on into the inner court of the palace. The king arose up in the night and said to his officials, "I'll tell you what the Arameans are doing to us. They know we're starving, so they've hidden in the field, saying, 'They, Israel, will go out of the city, and then we can take them alive and march into the city.' One of his officials answered, saying, 'Let some of the remaining horses be taken. They are but few, like the remainder, few alas, like the remainder of the multitude of Israel that has perished. So let us send the horses and see.' So they took 2 mounted riders, and the king sent them after the Aramean army, saying, 'Go reconnoiter.' They followed the Aramean trail as far as the river Jordan. All along the way there were clothes and weapons that the Arameans had thrown away in their haste. The scouts returned and told the king, and then the people went out and looted the Aramean camp. So it came about that a bushel of the best flour was sold for only a shekel, and 2 bushels of barley cost only a shekel, just as the Eternal had promised. Now the king had appointed the adjutant on whose arm he leaned to be in charge of the gate, and the people there trampled him to death, just as the man of God had predicted when the king had gone down to talk to him. For when the man of God had said to the king that the same time the next day 2 bushels of barley would be sold for a shekel at the gate of Samaria, and a bushel of the best flour would be sold for a shekel, this officer had said to the man of God, "Even if God made windows in the sky, would something like this happen?" And he had answered, "You'll see it happen, but you won't eat of any of it." And that's what happened to him. The people trampled him to death in the gate. Complicated Haftarah this morning, that is for sure. Maybe we will talk about that during our Torah study a little bit as well. Okay, blessing after the Haftarah can be found on page 340. No, that can't be right. 372 in the book, and then 390 in the online version. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, tzur kol haolamim, tzadik bechol hadorot, ha'el ha'ne'eman ha'omer ve'oseh, hamdaber u'mkayem, shekol devarav emet v'tzedek, al ha'torah ve'al ha'avodah, ve'al ha'nevi'im ve'al yom ha'shabbat hazeh, שנתת לנו, אדוני אלוהינו, לקדושה ולמנוחה, לכבוד ולתפארת. על הכל, אדוני אלוהינו, אנחנו מודים לך, ומברכים אותך, יתברך שמך בפי כל חי, תמיד לעולם ועד, ברוך אתה אדוני, מקדש השבת. We now rise, if we're able, at home, as we offer first a prayer for our country and then a prayer for the state of Israel. In our books, a prayer for our country is on page 376, and then just doing the mental math, this should be 394, I believe, in the online version. Again, page 376 and hopefully 394, if my math is correct. In the online, please join with me. O guardian of life and liberty, may our nation always merit your protection. Teach us to give thanks for what we have by sharing it with those who are in need. Keep our eyes open to the wonders of creation and alert to the care of the earth. May we never be lazy in the work of peace. May we honor those who have died in defense of our ideals. Grant our leaders wisdom and forbearance. May they govern with justice and compassion. Help us all to appreciate one another and to respect the many ways that we may serve you. May our homes be safe from affliction and strife, and our country be sound in body and spirit. Amen. And a prayer for the state of Israel on the next page. Avinu Shabashamayim Sur Yisrael V'Goalo Barech et Medinat Yisrael Reshit Tzmichat Geulatenu Agen Aleha Be'evrat Chastecha Ufros Aleha Sukat Shalomecha Ushlach Orcha V'Amidcha L'Rasheha Sareha V'Yoatzeha V'Taknem Be'itza Tova Milfanecha V'Natata Shalom Be'aretz V'Simchat Olam Liyoshveha V'Nomar Amen. You remain standing as we turn backwards one page. Page 374 in the, 374, so that would be 392 online, and again we are remaining standing as we prepare to return the Torah to the Ark.
Ye'alelu et Shem Adonai, ki nizkav Shemo levado, odo al eretz v'shamayim. Vayarem keren liamo, tehila lechol chasidav, livnei Yisrael am kiroho. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Ki lekach tov, natati lachem torati, al tazohu. Chaim him, lama chazikim ba, vetom cheha merushar, teracheha darchei noam, vechol netivoteha shalom, Ashivenu Adonai Elecha v'nashuva Chadesh Chadesh Yameinu Chadesh Yameinu Kekedem.
You remain standing as we turn to page 604 in the online, page 586 in the book, Aleinu L'Shabbat, at the bottom of the page.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, atet gedula leotzer breshit, shelo asanu kiyoyeh haratzot, velo samanu kemishpechot adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, vegor aleinu kechol hamonam, vanachnu korim, umishtachavim umodim, Lifnei melech malchei hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. V'nehemar v'haya Adonai, lemelech al kol haaretz, bayom hahu, yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo Ushemo Echad.
Now ask those in mourning and those observing yahrzeit at home to please remain standing. Everyone else may be seated at this time. We think first of those who've passed in recent months in our community: Florence Bass, Nancy Fisher, Saul Fisher, Barbara Friedman, Lee Friedman, Sandra Friedman, Arlene Mandelbaum, Myra Osofsky, Lisa Schneidman, and Norma Small. We also mark the yahrzeits that occurred during the last week for Muriel Binder, Corey Scott Ehrlitz, Dora Field, Hugh France, Goldie Friedman, May Froman, Lillian Gluckman, Herman Golden, Abraham Goldstein, Ruth Grossman, Annette Heller, Gerald Cass, Evelyn Katz, Miriam Krotman, Arthur Levy, Jack Lieberbaum, Rose Maisel, Nathan Meyerson, Margie Pollack, Benjamin Schwab, Mo Slater, Aaron Spitzer, and Morris Wolf. If you have a name of someone whom you're saying Kaddish for at home, now would be the time to offer that name or names. And of course, we are holding in our hearts the names or the souls of all of those who have passed, unfortunately, because of the virus, those that we know, those that we don't know. We pray for them as well. Join together with me on page 616 online, 598 in the book, Mourner's Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabba, be'alma divra chirutei ve'amlich malchutei, v'chayechon u'v'yom echon u'v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, v'agala v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shemei rabba mevarach le'alam u'le'almei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shmei d'kudsha barichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata ta'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shalom rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom v'imromav hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Zichronam livracha, may every one of their memories be for a blessing. Please be seated at home. Shabbat shalom to all of you, and I hope I will see some, if not most of your faces online in just a little bit for our online Torah study. Again, if you're a member of the community, you would have gotten the information, I hope, via email, but if you're not a member of the community and you're interested in joining our Torah study or our Oneg, we're very happy to have you. Just for security reasons, we need to know who you are ahead of time. So please just email me at your convenience online. My email address should be on the website. Email me, just let me know who you are, and I'll be happy to add you to that list. Just a few announcements that, again, I'm excited that we can get back to a point in which announcements are a thing. First is that we're very excited that next Shabbat, Torah study will be led for our Torah Women's Commentary by our wonderful Margaret Bromberg, who will be teaching us all the way from Israel. And actually, by the time she's teaching us, will be almost Motzei Shabbat, the end of Shabbat there. But it's a real treat just to be able to learn from her in person or in any other circumstance. But right now, especially, it's something that I know that I'm really looking forward to. And I want to thank our wonderful Ruth Joseph, who made all of those connections happen and makes all this stuff work, which is really great. I also just want to highlight the work of our Social Justice Committee. I realized after I came out of the service last night that I meant to say this and I didn't. Andy and Alyssa, who have been working tirelessly, volunteers. I think we've had a greater response in terms of volunteers for these efforts than we've had in the history of this temple. Now is broadening out to people who aren't even members of the community who just want to try to help. And it's very heartening. It means a great deal to know that I'm a part of a community with so many caring people, so many people who are giving really from the bottom of their heart to help those who are really in a desperate situation. And I think all of us know that that situation and those situations will only get worse with time, not better. So all the more reason that having a large group of volunteers and a really engaged leadership is so essential. So to Andy and to Alyssa, to their families, to all of you that have already volunteered, to those of you that are considering to volunteer, thank you from the bottom of my heart, and know what it means to me personally and what it means to this wonderful temple and community that we're a part of. Last other exciting thing to announce is that not this coming Shabbat, but the following Shabbat, our wonderful student cantor Emily is going to lead Kabbalat Shabbat services all the way from I think she's in Carlsbad, or at least somewhere near San Diego in California, and she will set up a Zoom for us, and we will have a chance to see and hear her, and that should be a really lovely opportunity and a chance to change things up a little bit, which would be great. And also, just last, that I probably will just keep saying this because it's so important. Thank you to Alan Levin and John Berger for giving us the ability to have these services by live stream. It would have been an amazing thing in normal times, but in current times, it's a gift beyond words. So Alan and John, if you're watching, just know that we are all very, very appreciative of your foresight and your commitment and your love of this temple and its community. So with that, we're going to close our service with, let's do Yigdal, which is page 628 in the book, and mental math time, that would be 646, I believe, I hope, in the online version. And then we will do Kiddush together. Yigdal Elohim Hai Ve'yishtabach Nimtza V'yein Etel B'tziuto Echad Ve'yachid Ke'yichudo Ne'lam V'gam Ein Sof Le'achduto Ein Lo Demut HaGuf V'yein Guf Lo Na'aroch Elav Kedushato Kadmon L'chol Davar Asher Nivra Rishon Ve'Reshit Le'Reshito Hino Adon Olam Lechol Notzar Yored Gedulato Malchuto Shefa Nevuato Netan Oel Anshe Segulato Vetifarto Lo Kan B'Yisrael Moshe Navi Umabit Et Munato Toratem Et Natan Le'Amoel Al Yad Nevi'o Neman Beito Lo Yachal Yifa'el Velo Yamir Dato Le'olamim Lezulato Sofe V'Yodea Setarenu Mabit L'Sof Davar Bekadmato Gomel Ish Chesed Kemifalo Noten L'Rasha Ra Kerishato Ishlach L'Ketz Yamin Vedut Olam Kol Chai V'Yesh Yakir Yeshuato Chaye Olam Nata Betochenu Baruch Adei Ad Shem Tehilato Chaye Olam Nata Betochenu Baruch Adei Ad Shem Tehilato. Okay, if you have some wine or grape juice handy, that would be the time to grab it as we turn to page 604 in the book, and online that would be 622, I believe. And Kiddush for Shabbat, again, top of the page, 622 online, page 604 in the book. Veshameru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Veshameru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, Lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael, oti leolam, oti leolam. Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz veshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Uvayom hashvi Shabbat vayinafash Shabbat vayinafash Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Al ken berach Adonai yom ha-Shabbat vayikadshehu safri. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Amen. L'chaim to all of you. I hope we'll see you online for Torah study at 12 o'clock. I'm going to get everything taken care of here. I will see you online in just a few moments. Otherwise, Shabbat Shalom. Stay safe, stay home, and God willing, we will all be back there together again sometime soon. Shabbat Shalom.